All right, let's get right into it. There is a massive tectonic shift happening in Silicon Valley, and it's mostly happening behind closed doors. We're talking about Project Titan. This is the story of how OpenAI, the world's leading AI company, is secretly gearing up for a full-blown war.
Yeah, this quote from the source material really just hits the nail on the head. This isn't about pinching pennies or getting a better deal. No. This is about control. It's about independence. It's a play to control the future of AI from the literal silicon atom all the way up.
And that, right there, is the million-dollar question, or maybe trillion-dollar question. I mean, think about it. OpenAI and NVIDIA have been the power couple of this entire AI revolution. So to figure out why OpenAI is suddenly building its own weapons, we have to first understand the kingdom that they're trying to escape. Which brings us right to Section 1, NVIDIA's iron grip. They have built an absolute empire on AI hardware. But, living in an empire, well, it always comes at a price for those who live there. Look, for any company trying to do AI at a massive scale, NVIDIA is basically the only game in town. They are the green giant. But this total dependency has created what some system architects call a blood-sucking bottleneck. If you want to build bigger and better AI, you have to pay the NVIDIA tax. There's just no way around it. Now, to really get OpenAI's strategy here, you've got to understand this one crucial difference. There are two main jobs for an AI chip. First, you've got training. This is the brutal, heavy lifting it takes to build an AI model from scratch. And then there's inference, which is what happens when you actually use the AI to answer a question or make a picture.
And this right here, just explains everything. Training is this huge one-time cost, sure. But inference, that happens every single time one of the hundreds of millions of ChatGPT users asks a question. It is the never-ending operational cost that can literally bleed a company dry. And that is the exact weak point OpenAI is aiming its secret weapon at.
So, how in the world is OpenAI planning to fight back against a giant like NVIDIA? Well, they're not trying to fight them everywhere. Instead, they've been secretly forging a very specialized weapon for a very specific battle.
And here it is. Meet Project Titan. Now, this is not just another GPU trying to be a jack of all trades. It's an XPU, a custom-built accelerator. It has been designed from the ground up with one single solitary purpose: to run AI inference tasks with absolutely ruthless efficiency.
So how do they get that crazy efficiency? Well, it's pretty genius. Titan basically strips out all the junk it doesn't need for AI, like all the graphics processing stuff, and it dedicates every last bit of silicon to the math that inference requires. It's all being built on TSMC's most advanced 3nm process, which basically means you can pack way more power into a much smaller, cooler chip. It is pure, uncut performance for one job and one job only. And the result of all this specialization is, well, it's staggering. Projections are showing that Titan could be up to 40% more power efficient than a traditional GPU doing the exact same thing. Now, at OpenAI's scale, a 40% saving isn't just about the electricity bill. We are talking about saving billions of dollars in operational costs over time. Now, if this whole strategy sounds kind of familiar, it's because it is. This is the Apple Silicon playbook, plain and simple. It's the same move we're seeing from Google with their Tensor chips and Amazon with their custom silicon. When you design the chip and the software to work together perfectly, you just unlock a level of performance and efficiency that an off-the-shelf part can never, ever match. But here's the thing. Even a giant like OpenAI can't just snap its fingers and make its own chips. To do this, they had to build a super powerful, super strategic alliance, basically creating a new three-headed giant to challenge the old one. And here are the players in this new power triangle. First, you've got OpenAI, obviously. They're the AI brains of the operation, designing the models and the chip itself. Then you have TSMC, the undisputed world champion of chip manufacturing. They provide the muscle to actually build these things. And then you have the secret weapon, Broadcom. And make no mistake, this isn't some side hustle or a small experiment. Reports are suggesting that OpenAI has committed over $10 billion to its partnership with Broadcom. A number that huge isn't an experiment. That's a full-on declaration of a brand new, long-term strategy. So, why Broadcom? Why are they so important? Well, because a modern AI supercomputer isn't just about the chips. It's about how those chips talk to each other at lightning speed. NVIDIA's big advantage is its locked-in, proprietary NVLink system. But Broadcom, they let OpenAI build a super-fast network using open standards, which is like building a secret backdoor to escape from NVIDIA's walled garden.
Okay, so a move this big with this much money behind it is already sending massive shockwaves through the entire tech industry. So let's break down who really wins and who loses in this new silicon war.
What you're seeing here is a fundamental realignment of power. The big winners? OpenAI, for sure. They get to slash their single biggest cost. And their key suppliers, Broadcom and TSMC, are going to make a fortune. The clear losers? Well, NVIDIA is staring down the barrel of losing a massive chunk of its future inference market. And maybe the hidden victim here is all those smaller AI chip startups. Their dream of selling to the biggest customer just went up in smoke.
Now let's be super clear. NVIDIA is not going bankrupt tomorrow. They still have an absolute iron grip on the training market, and that is incredibly profitable. But this move by OpenAI is a direct assault on the long-term, sustainable revenue that comes from inference, and that puts a huge question mark over NVIDIA's future growth story.
But this isn't even the end of the story. You see, Project Titan is just the first major battle. The leaks we're seeing show that it's part of a much, much longer war for the ultimate prize: total, absolute control.
Yeah, leaked roadmaps are showing a multi-year, multi-generational plan. The first Titan chip is set to deploy in 2026, but they are already working on Titan 2, which is targeting TSMC's next-generation A16 node, a process that's even more powerful. So this isn't a one-and-done project. OpenAI is building a permanent, world-class hardware division right inside the company.
And this might be the most brilliant move of all. You see, NVIDIA's real power isn't just its chips, it's the software that runs on them, called CUDA. It's a deep, powerful moat that makes it incredibly hard for developers to switch. But by building Titan to work perfectly with their own open-source software, Triton, OpenAI is basically creating an easy off-ramp for the entire AI industry. It's a software key designed to unlock a hardware prison.
And it all leads to this. This is the end game: total vertical integration. It means having absolute control over every single layer of the tech, from the physical transistor all the way up to the ChatGPT app on your phone. It's about making sure you never, ever have to pay rent to a hardware landlord again.
And this final quote from a system architect really just sums it all up. As we race towards artificial general intelligence, the real king isn't going to be the one with the best software or the best hardware. It's going to be the one who controls both. And with Project Titan, you can be sure these silicon wars have officially begun.